When half your family refuses to come to your wedding, do you give in or go full uninvite mode? I've had this Halloween wedding planned for 2 years. The venue I wanted has a wait list. All of a sudden my mom and grandma decided the wedding was satanic and wanted me to make last-minute changes. I told my mom and grandma a firm no. For 2 years my family has known about this, and because I've told them no, half my mom's side thought they would be cute, and said they weren't coming in a random power struggle. I told them okay and cancelled everyone's invitations who complained or banged my mom or grandma on this. One of my sisters acted like she'd stepped out of bridesmaid duty, so I replaced her. About 25 people decided to act stupid at less than the 6-week mark, so I send out uninvited invitations and new QR codes for those attending. The venue will check in only those to let people in. My aunt, who is one of the uninvited, told me people are allowed to disagree with me, but that doesn't mean I can pull an invitation for a they've planned to attend. I told my aunt they had 2 years for complaints, but saying you're not at 6 weeks before my wedding is crap. Everyone messed around and found out I will not be bullied by my family over this. Am I the idiot for inviting 25 family members to my wedding? Edit: it was mainly over uninviting my mom and grandma. She huffed and said if our mom is uninvited I'm not coming. I was like okay, don't come. The family saw it as disrespectful or something like that. The venue is a historical haunted location that does weddings. My boyfriend and his parents, who thought this whole thing was in bad taste right before the wedding, backed me up. Congratulations on your upcoming marriage. Let them boohoo about not being there. You're right. They messed around and found out the hard way. They won the prize of being uninvited. Enjoy your epic Halloween. The best day of the year in my opinion. Wedding. Are your guests dressing in as well? Either way, I hope you all have a wonderful and fun day. I love how the aunt is saying how dare you disinvite me from a wedding I planned on going to when she's responding to her literally saying I won't go. So the bride said okay and gave her invitation to somebody who wanted to go. Opie's spine grew 3 sizes that day. Tell your aunt that you only want people at your wedding who fully support you and your new spouse. They already said they're not coming, so why are they complaining now? Because they were bluffing to get their way and now they're all shocked and Pikachu faced that Opie said okay then don't come. It's honestly hilarious. Maybe they'll learn not to say things they don't mean. Opie, your mom and mother-in-law decided to intentionally blow up your wedding. Then they rallied their little army to put pressure on you. I would wager a bet this isn't the first time you've had a run-in with them over them trying to control your life. Finally somebody doesn't take crap and will go scorched earth for their beliefs. If only more people were like you instead of the doormats in this world. My mom has been married to Mark for 5 years. He's a good guy and we usually get along. The thing is he has a tween daughter who lives with his ex. They were in a big custody battle because she never let him see their child, and then she died so their daughter had to move in with us. They also decided to take in the girl's 3 younger half-siblings, pre-tween and young toddler because their father was in prison, and they were about to go into foster care. There are a lot of problems with this. We do not have space for all of these children. We have a 4-bedroomed house. I had to move into Mark's office so the other children could get the bigger room next to my mom and Mark. They're all terrified of males so they won't let Mark get anywhere near them. My mom is the one who has to do everything with them, and when she needs a second person she expects me to help. They're all so emotional. There are so many stuffed animals, blankets and cups all around the house that someone will melt down if you touch them. It's a lot but I've been dealing with it. Mark took me to get some noise-canceling headphones and stuff for my new room and he and my mom promised we'd be in a bigger house by Christmas. Yesterday my mom and I got into an argument because the pre-tween started crying while she was giving the older 2 their baths and getting them ready for bed. My mom told me to go to their room and read a story before she woke the baby up. I was watching TV so I told her to have Mark do it, but she said no and told me to get up and read the story. I didn't want to, so the baby ended up waking up and she was angry. She said that this was a change for all of us, and that I needed to help the family. I told her it's not my job to raise the children she decided to take in, but she told me that if I do that again she'll shut off the Wi-Fi at night. I told her it's still not my job to raise the children even if we don't have Wi-Fi yet. She needs to do something about all of the extra children in our house or I'm moving in with my father. Now she's angry and Mark is saying I was being unreasonable, and it wouldn't have hurt to read for 5 minutes until she went back to sleep or my mom was able to get her. Am I the idiot for not helping and for telling my mom to do something about the extra children or I'll move? So you've still got your own room. Your mother and Mark are working on getting a larger property, and they're accommodating your issues with the extra people and noise in the household. That's all quite positive in my view. If you were being expected to care for these children, cook for them, bathe them, dress them and whatnot, yes you could argue it's a lot. That's parentification, but 5 minutes of reading a story to a pre-tween who would probably lose interest after 2 minutes. Well, that's just human kindness and you couldn't manage that. How sad. I hope you learn from this one day. You are the idiot. You shouldn't be raising children, but being part of a family means helping out. There's a difference between doing your fair share of work and doing the parent's job. It's only been 3 weeks since they lost their mom and landed in this house. Clearly Mark is working on getting them to be comfortable with him, and it's normal for it to take time. Having an antagonistic teen in the house angry at them is probably not helping build the trust. Move out if you don't think you can be a nice older sibling to children with no choice but to live there. I'm sure they'd rather have their mother back than encroaching on you and your space. I agree with this. From what Opie described, this is not parentification. It's just asking them to help out here and there with small things. Children crying over stuffed animals and blankets is normal toddler behavior. Opie's parents even have plans to get a larger house in the next few months so everyone is more comfortable too. Update. I might have to stay and babysit because my mom and Mark told me that moving will be a one-time thing. I can't go back and forth when I get angry. Mark also told me I could be a part of his family and contribute, or he could stop treating me like his family and paying my tuition. I go to private school and driver's ed, and won't buy me a car when I get my license and won't pay for my college. I'll have to see what my father can pay for before I move. Context. I, 39 female, am low contact with my family. I'm an artist, not famous, but I have some recognition in my field. My family was not very supportive of my career choice until I became successful and others praised me. So I'm a bit sour now that my mother, 63 female, is trying to get involved in my career, especially because she does things behind my back that I don't approve of. E.g., I gave her some free prints of my work thinking she wanted to give them to friends. A few months later she asked me if I had more because she'd already sold the ones she'd got. I was mortified because these were free prints. I got them for free to give away and she knew that, and I gave them to her for free, and she decided to make money off them. So obviously I didn't give her more prints. Now she's apparently promised someone a print signed by me and she told me this on the phone. She knows I'm going to be angry but she already did it, so I need to sign a print and send it to them. So I asked her why she did it when she knew it would upset me. Her response? I wasn't thinking. This has been her response to anything I've called her out on for years. She never apologizes. She just says it's not her fault that she did something without thinking about it. And she then blames me for being angry because it hurts her. Also, she's not senile but she keeps forgetting when I ask her not to do something. This is not the first time she's gone behind my back and done something like this. I wasn't buying her excuse and she told me that she hadn't promised it to the person 100%. She just said that she could probably get it for them. She cried, so I caved in and said that while I'm not giving her another free print, if she can buy one and get it to me, I live in a different city, I'll sign it for them. However, the exchange between my mother and that person was on Facebook, a public post, and I found it and she lied to me. The person, who knows she's my mother, asks if there's a chance I might sign the print and my replies, sure, so she actually did promise it without asking me if it was okay. So I got upset again. To be clear, I don't have an issue with signing the print for someone. I'd do it if I were normally asked to. It just really bothers me that to my mother I don't seem to deserve any consideration. So I'm conflicted because I know what she's doing is emotional manipulation, and I don't want to give in. But also that person who asked for a signature did it in good faith, and was promised something I don't mind giving. Not the idiot. Everybody should understand that they can't make commitments on behalf of somebody else without specific permission. That's not, I forgot this one specific thing. That's, I forgot to act like a responsible adult, and then cried about it. She's not forgetting. She just doesn't care. Here's the thing. You cannot control your mother's actions, but you can control your reactions. Madness is doing the same thing and expecting different results. Change the pattern. Whenever she uses the excuse of I wasn't thinking, tell her now you are. What are you going to do to fix it? And don't cave in. She cries, I'm sorry you're upset. I'll give you time to figure out your next steps. Trust me, you do this a couple of times, the embarrassment alone will change her actions. Is it easy? No, but it's like parents doing everything for their children and setting them up for failure in the real world. To think of it as a life lesson for her benefit and your mental health. Best of luck. A developer in our area went bust and plots behind and next to my land were for sale for a good price. Suddenly I had new potential neighbors. One day a guy appeared on my land, introduced himself and told me that he'd bought the land behind mine. He asked if I would agree to allow them to build a road on the border of my land, as the person who owns the land next to me doesn't want to go in the middle of his land. But he would agree to have it on the border of our two lands, as he could also use the same road as his driveway. I agreed and told him that sure. The only condition is that I can also use the road if I need to access that side of my land for whatever reason. So he must do all the paperwork. And when everything is ready we can make it official. We exchanged contacts and everything seemed to be great. A few days ago I got an email with an attachment with plans and everything and costs divided into 3. Assuming that everyone, including me, will pay a third. The future neighbor next to me replied that he would only cover part of the cost of what he would use, as he would only use as wasi. I replied to his email with something like, I'm sorry if there was a misunderstanding, but I will not pay for the road because I don't need that road. I will allow you to build it. My only condition is that I can use it if I need it. That means the person next to me would have to cover 25% of the total, and the rest would be the guy behind us. The guy called me and was angry at me, saying that I was selfish and greedy, and that I expected to use something that others built and it would be so expensive for him. I'm a jerk. He didn't exactly use the word idiot, but am I the idiot? You're not the idiot. He wants to put a road across someone else's property. You and your neighbor kindly agreed to that. Now he expects you to help foot the bill. That's insane. It was nice enough that you're not charging him to build a road on your property. It's over the top entitlement to demand that you split the cost of the road that you do not need. Why did he buy land that he had no access to? Because it was cheap, I guess. They should be happy that you allow them to build the road. It's not your problem that the place behind yours doesn't have a direct connection to a road. The new owner had all possibilities to figure out this problem before he signed the contract. Also, if this road goes over your property, your neighbor should pay you for an easement. I'm a teen male currently in family therapy with my dad, his wife, my sister, young teen, and step-siblings, tween, pre-tween, and pre-tween. This blended family thing is still pretty new with my dad being remarried for 2 years. My mom died, so I only have one home, and I'll be honest, I was never excited or really into the whole blended family thing, but I know that's not my decision. All 3 of my step-siblings have food allergies, and 2 have bad ones, so the way we eat has changed a lot. This included places we ate at that were a part of our traditions. For most of my life we'd eat at this local noodle bar in town for the end of the school year, and whenever we had a school thing, play, graduation, report card, etc. We're not allowed to go there anymore, because of the allergies. Even just with dad, it's a no-go. We can't bring ice cream into the house anymore, because my step-siblings can't eat it. Only my dad and his wife can prepare food, so no more making a sandwich for myself either. Birthdays have changed. My sister and I can no longer eat at our preferred restaurant of choice, because of my step-siblings, and we can't bring my favorite dish into the house either. So now it's a place that my step-siblings love, and is acceptable for their allergies. For 2 years dad has talked about how glad we are to make all these changes, and how family is worth it. About 4 months ago his wife noticed that my sister and I weren't engaged with the family the way she thought we'd be. We didn't want to talk to her. She also noticed my sister had cut me and her out of some photos of all of us, and used just me and her for her room's art wall, so she and dad decided we needed some family therapy. Since we started about 2 months ago, officially there have been a lot of questions about what the problem is, why we are there, and how to explain the problem. My dad also talked about all the good of a blended family and changes were mentioned. He also talked about how happy we all are to make them. Well, last week I got so sick of it, and the therapist asked me if I was genuinely okay with them, and I went off. I said no, I'm not. That I hate the changes, that they're unfair. That I never said I wanted my step-siblings to celebrate my birthday more than I wanted my favorite foods. These things were decided for me. I said I never would have made that decision because celebrating with them isn't important to me. I'd rather have a good time with the people I love and enjoy food that I love instead, and I hate not being able to make a sandwich or buy snacks after school. I went off for the whole session between a rant and answering the therapist's questions. My dad was so angry at me for doing it, and his wife was really upset because her kids heard it. But she was also upset because she accepted on some level I didn't ever want this. She's also angry that I took up a whole session with my rant. Am I the idiot? Entitled parents. Kiddo, you're here asking if you were wrong to use the therapy you were shoved into. No, sweetheart. You're not wrong for that. Nor for any of your feelings around your step-family. It was not your choice for them to join your family, and had your father not pushed this, you likely would not have been as against this. It's not your fault you weren't considered in this life-changing choice. You cannot tell your dad not to date, marry, or whatever. But your dad likewise cannot demand that you be okay with choices made without you. Not the idiot. And your dad needs to back off unless he wants to lose you and your sister. At least someone bothered to ask you how you were feeling about your family situation. The problem is that should have been your dad, not a therapist. Your dad just pushed his Brady Bunch family blended family crap and never asked you once how you felt about it. He instead decided how you and your sister were to feel. That's not how it works. He must understand now that he's blown it. And that is why he's angry that you refuse his fantasy. I doubt that, after this outburst, the sessions will have such a significant rant from now on. This one was the dam bursting, and now that backed up river of emotions will be less volatile. I wish you luck, Opie.